Hello, my name is Jordan Knight, and this is my opening opposition argument. Resolved. Sugary drinks should not be sold in primary and secondary schools. The effects of sugary drinks and fatty products have devastating effects on the obesity rates of children in primary and secondary schools. However, it seems that it would benefit society more for children to gain the knowledge of the harmful effects of these products, instead of simply just being cut off from these products altogether. While pouring contracts in schools may cause an increase in sugar intake, it is important to remember the profits from sugary drinks are being used to help with the physical education of children. However, before delving into how the benefits of these pouring contracts outweigh the damages of these agreements, I would first like to dissect my opponent's opening affirmative argument. First, while the study of Norwegian 10th graders in Oslo showed a positive correlation between the consumption of sugary products and mental disorders, one cannot help but see the strong bias in the experiment. Both minority students and students with both parents, who were born outside of Norway, were excluded from the experiment. In the limitation sections of the project, it is clearly stated that the only conclusion that can be made is that there is a fairly strong correlation between mental illness and the consumption of sugary drinks among Norwegian high school students. However, in order to make a final conclusion, international experiments would need to be conducted. Next, the article from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention that my opponent refers to definitely mentions the harmful effects that sugary products have on the general progression of mental and physical health of children. However, it seems that the main argument of the proposition is to ban sugary drinks from primary and secondary schools. However, the topic of this article is not to prevent the availability of sugary products from children, but rather to educate children more about the harmful effects of these products. So, this article technically does not coincide with the solvency of the arguments. Also, while the findings in the British Medical Journal may show the effects of reducing sugary drink intake and how it reduces overall calorie intake and lowers overall BMI, the size of the participants was a mere 103, hardly a large enough sample, as the author reminds the reader that the experiment is a pilot. Also, the statistics reported by CBS Boston that showed how sugar-sweetened beverage consumption inside Boston schools fell from 1.71 average servings per day in 2004 to 1.38 servings in 2006 can be considered misleading. While this article points out an obvious decrease in soda consumption in one city, there actually has not been a strong correlation between the banning of soda in schools and a decrease in overall soda consumption. According to the American Beverage Association, in 2006 to 2007, about 85% of 8th graders said they consumed sugary drinks at least once a week, regardless of the state policy, and 26% to 33% of these same students reported drinking soda daily. The staggering increases in childhood obesity have caused many people to wonder what circumstances have changed in the lives of children today compared to those of the past. It has been concluded that children who eat more empty calories and expend fewer calories through physical activity are more likely to become obese than other children. Many argue the main causes of childhood obesity is the mass consumption of sugary products, which are facilitated by these so-called pouring contracts instituted by soda companies. Pouring contracts are large payments from soft drink companies to schools or school districts in return for the right to sell that company's products, and only those products. After all, in 2006, 73% of high schools, 58% of middle schools, and 42% of elementary schools had these pouring contracts. However, while these pouring contracts promote the consumption of soda, the real culprit of childhood obesity is the lack of physical education in primary and secondary schools, which is exactly what these pouring contracts help pay for. I believe Michael C. Barita, the communications director for the Center for Consumer Freedom, a non-profit organization that represents restaurants and food companies, points out the true effects of pouring contracts. As he states, the irony is that most of the money from these contracts helps pay for after-school programs and sports, things that arguably do more to prevent obesity than soda bans. It seems that the best way for the nation to combat child obesity is to not abandon these pouring contracts, but to perhaps modify the terms of these contracts so that the benefits will continue to help make the importance of physical education more ubiquitous among primary and secondary schools.